Hey everybody, sorry, the alerts are acting bizarre. So I've had two friends that I asked to stand by and see what their phones would do with this. So I first set up the initial start of this stream at 4:30 and it started. Neither of them got alerts, and then it crashed and froze on us all. So I thought, okay, maybe they didn't get alert because of that. Then I restarted it and reset it for 4:53 or whatever it says, and tried to hop on just now. And my friend just texted me that one of my friends got a notice, the other one did not, that it was happening. So I don't know what's going on with YouTube and alerts, but I've been hearing from a lot of you guys that the time's wrong, or that it's just not alerting you, or sometimes it just alerts you when I start streaming. And for me right now, it says no one's watching, but I can see in the chat that that is not the case. So I don't know. There's some technical difficulties going on with YouTube right now. But tonight I want to talk about breeding fish and just a kind of quick overview of a few kinds of projects I have set up for breeding fish. And while I breed fish, walleye, that's a type of fish. Uh, while I breed fish, I also try to grow plants in the tank if I can help it. However, it's not the most effective way to breed fish usually. So tonight I was going to kind of go through the motions of what I'm doing, what it takes to be breeding some of these little nano fish, and answering any questions along the way. Also, we kind of have a festive Christmas tree with some Hanukkah stuff on it, even though Hanukkah's over. But happy holidays to y'all, even if you don't celebrate anything, celebrate life. All right, guys. So I wanted to show you, I did a little work in this tank. So this tank has been cleaned out to make way for, hey, Chubby Guppy, Jeff Griffin, Viola. Hey, what's up? In any case, I hope you guys can get on Facebook. Superior Guppy, what is going on? I hope that folks can get on to to the Facebook group, but the link, for some reason on this video, it may not quite work. So just Google secret history living in your aquarium or secret history aquarium in Facebook, and you'll find a link definitely. Aquaballs, what is up? How is it going? So I was gonna show off a couple things new in this tank. The first new thing is that the swordtail. Hey Vi, you're here. And you were here earlier. I'd love to just hear really quick from everyone when it said I was going live and when you got the alert, because I'm having all sorts of problems with YouTube. I set up the cast for like 4:30 and then it never launched, and then I reset it up for 4:53 and had friends watching, and yeah, they had mixed results of the alerts. Okay. So I was just kind of curious, like what is happening, and if it's alerting people just as I go live, or if they hear ahead of time. And then I was also curious if I moved it, if maybe that would alert everyone again, or maybe alert a different chunk of people than it did just by doing it once. Like if I set it for 4 and then at 3:30 I move it to 4:30, like maybe it sends out alerts to different batches, because it definitely doesn't send out an alert right now. It doesn't send out an alert to everyone who has their bell on even. So I don't know. That's housekeeping stuff. Let's not worry about that right now. We're going to start up here, but most of the time we're going to be downstairs. If anyone has any questions, let me know and feel free to chime in. So, in this tank, what have I been breeding? Well, nothing up here other than guppies. Now, these guppies, not that there's anything wrong with these guppies and endlers, but they are uh, the extras from downstairs. Some of them are great, and I may wanted to have had a line of them. Like these are the snakeskin crimson veil tails, and over here we've got some wild endlers, double sorted wild endlers, single sorted wild endler mix. So lots of interesting stuff in here, but all of it is stuff that's a genetic anomaly. I save it, I put it aside, I let them breed, and then I usually sell off the big batches. But any little pretty specimens that have a trait that I find rare, like that top fin there on all these three wild style endlers, I think is just incredibly gorgeous. I know focus isn't the best here. Also, I'm trying to pick out a gimbal, so if you guys have an idea on a gimbal that you have worked with that works well for you, I am totally open to selection on that or input on that, because I have the money now, thanks to you guys, to get a gimbal, and that's where it's going. That, and I have the money to send out some holiday cheer. Besides my contest, I'm sending some stuff to Bob and some other people, probably Betsy and stuff. So, a couple other people, Jess, Shrimp Granny, possibly, and maybe you could also get in on that just randomly in the chats in the next few days, because it's tis the season, right, guys? And I want to share what you guys have helped the channel accomplish in a year. This channel has been around since November of last year as a channel. Really got cranking in really April of this year. So all that we've accomplished with the community on Facebook and chatting with each other, and I gotten to meet Dustin from Dustin's Fish Tanks, obviously Cory, and a lot of people in the fish community on YouTube are in my town. Bob Steenfott and Jimmy, and well, I guess Mike is down in Oregon, but yeah, and Joel Corvus Ocean, who is streaming right now. So if you came from over there, thanks for chilling out with me. But basically, I wanted to show you guys, and I'll answer that question in just one sec. I wanted to show you guys that these Danios are in the middle size for the Danios in the hobby. Now these are fire or flame Danios. They're which is confusing because there's leopard Danios, there are electric leopard Danios, and it's arguably now they think that maybe leopard Danios and zebra Danios were the same species. It's kind of like the Endler versus guppy debate, but there'll be some DNA coming out. But right now, DNA evidence is confusing people more because they're even closer related than people thought. Uh, so yeah, that's what muddied the water in this instance was the DNA. So they're pretty much alike except the outside. But in here, you can see I've got leopard Danios, which are one of the larger Danios. These guys here with the gold on them versus the bronze ones with the orange. It's actually like a really nice copper color, and it has some purple in the clear part of their like peduncle back on the that's where the tail kind of ends and the fin starts on the back. And they have this great copper just kind of sheen to them. And the females, as you can see, I've been feeding them a lot of bloodworms and live food. And so they're nice and fat. You can see those bellies just really plump. So these will be extremely easy to breed at this point, especially with them so feisty. If I split up the males and females, what I usually do is I'll get some boxes like these, and for a week I'll put the males and females in separate boxes, or just put them in a 5-gallon tank downstairs, all the females or something. Like that female is ready to explode with babies. She probably has 500 eggs inside of her. And her baby's, survival rate, we could probably get 300 if you really wanted to take care of it. I'm more of a natural breeder where I will move their eggs around, put them in a safer area where no bigger fish are going to eat them. But I feed them, once or twice a day, not 8 times a day, and changing the water constantly and moving them in trays every couple weeks, and the way it should be done if you want to keep all of your fry. So I seem to get about a 50% survival rate on these really small fish. And I don't know in the wild what their survival rate is. So if anybody else breeds smaller Danios, CPDs, or gold ring tin winnies, which Bob just opened on his channel earlier today, he got some beautiful highway catfish that just look awesome. So it's a video worth checking out if you've never heard of highway catfish too on Bob's channel. But yeah, so these will be very easy to breed. It's suggested to bring the pH down for these, but I've noticed the bigger a Danio is, from my experience, the easier it is to breed. Like the 6.0 or 7.0 will be fine. I won't need to drop it to like 4.0 like I have had to with some of the other Danios. And part of that is that they come from bigger bodies of water, I think, which have bigger, streams that can flood in. They connect to larger territories, and that just actually opens up the possibilities. So let me look at the questions real quick. Sorry for neglecting them. What shrimp do you recommend I get for profit? I'm a UK shrimp breeder and I just want to know your opinion. Note, I have blue, yellow, cherry neocaridina already. Maybe a caridina? Stefano Vaca, cow? I would like to tell you that you are off to a good start. I honestly would run with the red cherry shrimp. I'd get some blue dreams and don't so much worry about getting to the next species as perfecting your care of the shrimp you have. And a lot of times that is stop fiddling with the shrimp. That's what I have to tell myself. Don't mess with the water. Don't scrape the sides of the aquarium. Just find a good cycle where you don't have a ton of planaria, even a little bit of planaria, a little bit of hydra. That's okay if you've got a good amount of plants and shrimp coming and going out of there. And then I use the water from those tanks to inoculate my breeding tanks. So what I might suggest is that if you're breeding shrimp, let that water, we'll go downstairs soon and you'll see, but let that water get full of seed shrimps and cyclops and all these other little critters that you can barely see with the naked eye, a little white flecks basically, like some of the stuff in here. And I would take a turkey baster or like a syringe and just try to squeeze up as many of those as you can to kind of start a culture in some 5 or 10 gallon tanks. And then what I would do is I would take that some other fish like a celestial pearl danio that here they sell for $6 or $7 still. And that's about what you're going to get for those shrimp, but they can lay a lot more eggs. Same with some pseudomagills also sell for good money where I am anyways. In the UK, I don't know what your normal thanks Bob for the posting the link to the Facebook page. I appreciate that. Crystal Shack Aquatics, hello. Viola Hops a lot, hello. Relic Turtle, what is going down? Found some mystery seeds. I think they're a cactus, and I have them and a bunch of other things going. Cool. Relic Turtle, I wish you luck. Superior Guppy, you're in Tacoma. Awesome. Got some more locals. Okay, so with the shrimp also, red cherry shrimp are always in demand. And yes, people get them overseas for 20 cents a piece, but that's the transshipper. They get them for 10 to 20 cents a piece. And so I would just really I would spend my money, save up. This is what I did. And I would get the best shrimp you can. And the other thing is, do not drain your tank of the breeders too soon. So and we're gonna head over to the other tank, and then we're going downstairs. But so what a lot of people do is they drain their tank of breeding stock before they have enough. So here are my quote unquote world's best blue dreams, and obviously, as I always complain, the lighting is kind of funky uh, on uh, on this whole YouTube live thing. But we've got Blue Dream shrimp in here, and we've got a good number of them. I mean, I would dare to say that there are probably 30 or 40 of them. And then there's also, this is another good shrimp for you too, Stefano, is these are Malawa shrimps or Malawa shrimps. They can live with the Neocaridina and breed side by side. They have the exact same water specifications, and they're pretty hardy. They eat about like an Amano shrimp would. You can see here's another one, and I can find some that are more colorful, but they're outpacing my other shrimp in this tank. And I just wanted to show this off that I have coolie loaches in the tank right now who definitely will eat the baby shrimp if they come across them. But this tank is full of nooks and crannies and areas for little shrimp to hide. So, do they dance? Yes, they dance. And then over here, we have a huge selection of different species. They said it could not be done, but I've kept 20 species of rasbora and Danio and loaches, all the smallest of their type, in the same 17.5 gallon tank with almost no nitrates. Like, the problem is I actually need to add fertilizer more because the plants can't keep up. The algae and the plants are competing, and I got rid of some of the biomass by moving some of the bigger fish, the guppies, out of here. And guppies are poopy fish. They make a lot of ammonia. So when I move them, one adult female guppy creates the waste of 4 or 5 of these Samfong rasboras. So these I will be breeding, and I have bred. These guys are beautiful. This light is not doing them justice. They're gold with rainbow iridescence, almost like a sequin or a prism on them. And then the other ones here, these are green green rasboras, and then up here, this is a blue rasbora. Now, they are pretty much the same fish. Arguably, they're just color variants, because look at them. Is one green, is one blue? It's so subtle, and they're from the same place that I think it might even just be distributors calling them different fish, and that 2 people have named them, and a lot of people don't like Dr. Axelrod, who got to name them first, or they were named after him first, and a lot of people don't like him. They think he is a jerk face, to say it lightly, and so it's questionable whether they're a separate species or one species, and they're just trying to rename it. I don't know. I could do a whole episode on that because he's also got rummy nose tetras and all sorts of other stuff. If you see Axelrodi, there's 3 Axelrods in the hobby of note, and basically one of them was a big jerk face that owned all the fish magazines for a time. So yeah, you can see all the blue shrimp in here. I'd say even with 30 blue shrimp in here, I'm nowhere near where I'd want to sell these shrimp more than just to friends, like 3 or 4 here and there. And that's because when you're selling shrimp for profit, while we're talking about breeding nanoscale, you really don't want your fish or your shrimp. You don't sell them out. You want to have enough that you could sell off half of them and still have a colony, and that would, produce money. So ideally, keep 2 tanks, one as a backup in case one ever crashes or something awful happens, a heater blows up and whatnot. But basically, I keep one blue strain up here. These are the best of the best. And when I see a pregnant female, I take her downstairs to the nursery tank, as I call it. But I just, for display purposes and because I think they're beautiful, I put them in here for now. Also, the CPD that is hanging out here, you can see that black dot on her belly. That's actually her anus right there. And that's her annular fin right next to it. But that's how you tell males and females apart, is surefire way in CPDs, which are celestial pearl Danios. Now she actually has a dark blue, beautiful color on her, and then these gold speckles. The other fish that just popped up, very closely related to the point where they actually can interbreed with one another and hybridize, although I've not had that happen frequently at all. I've seen one or two times when it's happened, but right there, that's an erythromicron with the stripes. And there's a male erythromicron. You can see kind of behind all those plants with the dark blue again. So if it's got that dark blue, it's going to be probably a male. Then over here we have the quote-unquote blue tetra or purple tetra. These ones definitely tend to be blue. They're the only fish in here other than the Pleco now that are out of place from being from Shan. So as you can see, these blue dream shrimp are just looking great, feeling great. Lewis, anybody get the reference? Anybody? Anybody? And what I'm selecting for now is just consistency. Also, the panda loaches, you see this? Now this one has grown up. That is an adult panda loach marking. And that means they are the variety that I was hoping for. They aren't the ones that turn like this awkward creamy yellow, kind of like the color of this baby ancestris fry here, and a beige to brown color for the stripes. So I lucked out. There's two subpopulations, and I got the one I was hoping for, and so I'm excited about that. Also, multi-barred pygmy loaches in here, so there's a whole lot of little teeny critters in here. Now, we're going to head downstairs in a moment, but I just wanted to point out something real quick, and that is that I was really excited about these white stem black crypts, and they all looked really well adjusted, and then all of a sudden, week 4, they start to melt. And for some reason, the coolie loaches are obsessed with eating them. So with crypts, you don't want to move them. And I don't know if this is going to be an instance of these coolie loaches chowing down on just the leaves as they kind of melt, and it's going to be a normal melt, or if I'm actually going to lose these plants. But we didn't even know what kind of crypts these were. Or what variation of what species they were. So I've got one more plant downstairs, and hopefully they survive. But coolie loaches are sure interesting to watch, the way they use their mouth. You see all that stuff it's blowing out of the way? That's all like just junk from the floor, and they're like little Hoover vacuums, and you can see it as it goes, kicking up the junk. Like, this footage is just priceless to me, to watch how fish function, and then you learn, like, okay, these guys are really good at churning up substrate. That's a great thing to know. Terrible if you're trying to breed Cory catfish or anything that lays its eggs right in the substrate. They're clearly going through it, and right now there's kind of a ball of them. There's like 5 of them all hanging out together right there. So the last little piece that I was going to show you is this guy. Now, this is the Anubias that was called variegated, that came from Aquatic Arts. Now, I saw how most of their variegated Anubias looked, and it was not white like this. It had green on it. And I was like, wow, that white is too good to be true. Look at this green. This is more normal, just so you guys know. You see how this is white, but it has a green kind of, I don't know, mint hue to it? That is what it should look like, or it should have dark green edges. So it turns out that these plant grafts when you're at the store, if you're looking for them, and Anubias, Boosts, all these are great plants to put into your breeding tanks just because they don't need a ton of light, they don't need a ton of nutrients, and they're slow growers. You can catch before anything kills them. Also, if you have them in a high light tank like here, this is going to flower in a moment or in a week or so. And you can see everything is pearling a lot in this tank right now. Hence also fighting back the algae again. Refer to my algae video to see how I'll deal with that. We'll have another bud coming off of this one. So the boost in this tank is really happy. It just really wants to put up. Oh, we got another one that's going to put up another flower. So yeah, but that Anubias, back to the Anubias white, which sells for $80 a clone or a graph of it. And that is because in the wild it can't exist. So if it has no green, that means it has no chlorophyll or chlorophore. And it means that it can't create energy from the sun. So it's stuck with just using its roots. And so you could grow it hydroponically, but it's a rhizome plant without roots. So its roots, quote in quotations, are rhizomes, which are much less effective at getting the nutrients they need. And it also causes a much less effective exchange of gases between carbon dioxide and monoxide in the water and oxygen, because those capillaries need the strength that sorry about that, guys, that the photosynthesis causes. So in the daytime it creates proteins and things, and in the nighttime it creates sugars, but it needs those proteins and that carbon, so it's breathing in all that carbon dioxide in the day. So in the day, the carbon in the carbon dioxide is dismantled amazingly from the air, and all of a sudden it's reassembled like building blocks, since life forms are carbon based, and it leaves the plants to melt while it tries to regenerate itself in other ways. Oftentimes you see crypts melt and things, and I don't know for a fact that that's what's going on, but in these Anubias, that is what's going on. And so my advice is, if you see these tissue cultures, which just hit the market, and they're going to be at Petco and everything too soon, is don't buy the stark white one. Buy one that has at least 10% green on it, and go with those. And then for those, they're going to need a lot of light, and they're going to need a lot of CO2 and a lot of fertilizer. All right, guys, I'll start answering questions. We're going to head downstairs. We're going to get out of my wife's hair. She's in the kitchen getting stuff ready and wrapping presents for Christmas for me, because I'm special. Let me answer some of your questions, and then we will continue on the tour de cave. All right, guys, hold on. I want you to see this just so you can say that it existed. It existed for a day. Come on. There we go. All right, guys. So the room cleaned up. Things set aside. Oh, you know what? I forgot the whole point of what I was coming down here for. Let me run back upstairs. I'm going to read these. I'm going to cover the screen so nobody gets nauseous. And then let me read the questions while I'm grabbing the stuff I need. Okay, the shrimp shouldn't choke, not in my experience at least. My plants in the tissue culture. Many plants in the tissue cultures. Oh yeah, a lot of tissue culture plants do. They do melt. It's because they're by their very nature, they're grown out of water. Even though they're in that gel medium, they are a hydroponic or hydrophilic gel affinid plant. So, all right, guys, we're back.